was the Meg thinking? This is super weird. It's getting super weird. The Meg's desperation for her Netflix show, to promote it, to salvage this as ever nonsense, all of it is obvious, painfully obvious. Watching this woman so desperately try to get this off the ground and make something work is sad in a lot of ways. But it's not, because she's so rude and so unkind and has lied about people. Like, she's done so many unfair things, really. What would you expect if you were the Meg? What would you expect? Would you really expect all this stuff to go well? I should think not. If you had a couple of brain cells to rub together, you would be able to figure out that the public does not want this from you, Meghan. But no. The Meg hasn't figured that out, or she's unwilling to accept it. And here she is charging forth with nonsense. But this is a whole different, weird, bizarre, eerie can of worms that she has unleashed upon us against our will this weekend. 3 days to launch, according to her post, but for me now, well, you're going to see this because I'm slow to get videos out. It'll be within the next couple of days that her Netflix show launches. But Meghan made a post to tease the few days leading up to the Netflix show premiering, and instead of just making a normal post to promote it, she used her children to promote it, to stir up news, to try to get eyeballs on her Instagram in order to promote her Netflix show. Super weird, super cringe, not a good choice, and I'll tell you why. But first, I have to say, I was kind of surprised that she did this, because with how much she and Harry talk about privacy and gotta keep safe and stuff, we all know it's overboard and nonsense. But if we were to take them at their word that they're very paranoid and very scared out there in the world and very worried about privacy, if we were to take them as at their word that this is like a top concern for them, and Harry, with how much he has talked about being protective of his kids and Meghan, but like his kids and his family, I really didn't think that Harry would allow the Meg to do something like this. And I also didn't necessarily anticipate Meghan to do this either. Like, we know the Meg stoops low and has no qualms about using people anytime she needs to, anytime it serves her. But this really does feel like a new low. Harry and Meghan, in case you didn't know, have kept their kids incredibly private for a very long time now. We've got maybe a dozen pictures of the children their whole lives, which is a very small amount for people who are in the public eye. It just is. Like, I mean, celebrities, normal actors and actresses typically don't put their kids on social media very much, at least not very often. But for the royals, typically there was, at least an annual picture around Christmas of the family together and a birthday photo, typically. And even Harry and Meghan initially were putting out, birthday pictures of the kids. But we've only gotten maybe a dozen total, and it's been so few opportunities of seeing the kids that there's been conspiracy theories that are kind of out of control when you think about it from the perspective of it being a conspiracy theory. They're intense. Let's put it that way. And it's all because of the way Harry and Meghan have chosen to hardly share any information or pictures of their kids and be seen very little with their children, which is fine. It's their prerogative. But then when they do show pictures of their kids, they're weird, obscured pictures where you can't really see their faces, and that lends itself to these conspiracy theories. So that's a whole can of worms on its own. But because they've kept their kids so private and conducted things the way that they have, regardless of if you agree with it or not, none of that matters in the context here today that we're discussing. That's our starting point here. And now, this weekend, Meghan has decided that she would make an Instagram post featuring her child, Lili, and use that post to promote her Netflix show. Now, you might think, what's the big deal? What does that matter? A lot of people make posts with their kids. A lot of people are making posts to promote their projects or their businesses or things that are going on in their lives. What's the big deal? The problem is, because there's been so little, almost no content involving the children at all, for her to be making content that includes the children now and tying it to launching her Netflix show, it's clear, it's obvious that she's using that curiosity about her children to leverage more eyeballs onto her Netflix promotions. Let's be honest, this Netflix show is doomed. The delay took a lot of wind out of the sails. The teasers she's put out have come off as desperate and showed the empty sort of lack of charisma, the absence of chemistry, and just general sucky vibe that the show is going to have. It didn't set a great tone. Nobody's excited about this nonsense. So she's very desperate at this point to strum up some degree of publicity, to try to get some sort of excitement going, to try to get views on her Netflix show. And so far, the Meg has not been able to land herself any other sort of means to promote it. She doesn't have talk shows lined up or anything like that we have heard of or that we have seen. She's only promoting it through Instagram and relying on Netflix. Because of this, she has stooped to making posts that include her kids. And instead of just making a normal mom post and keeping that separate, she has added Netflix promotion into this post with Lili, which is very obvious. It's not subtle at all. She's using that curiosity about her kids in order to promote her terrible Netflix show. And that's kind of gross from the perspective of a mom who's trying to protect your kids, to be like, well, I'm protecting them up until the point that they can help me make this show a success and get more curiosity about my Netflix show. If I can use them to stir up more publicity and curiosity, then by golly, I'm gonna. Like, that's just kind of a gross decision to make. As a mom, it's very see-through. It's an outdated thing as well, to think that people aren't going to see through it, to not get it and see it for what it is. She's out of touch and behind the times. She doesn't seem to grasp that people see right through her and get it and see what she's doing. That she really doesn't seem to understand. She clearly didn't think people would view it this way, evidently. Because if she did, then she shouldn't have done it. But it's really called into a lot of questions about her and Harry's parenting here. That Harry's allowing her to include the kids in social media now, when he's been against it for some time. That they're using social media at all and having their kids feature in social media at all, with how much they talk about privacy and protection and blah, 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 but also with how they have talked so much about the harms of social media and how it can be a bad and scary place, and their letter disagreeing with Meta getting rid of fact checking. That was very pointed and expressed displeasure at that, but yet they're still using the platform and using it for their own gain and featuring their children on it. It's also brought into question for some people why she's featuring Lili more than Archie. What's going on there? Like, it's just opened up this whole can of worms that's not serving her well when it comes to publicity and PR and this show, but it's also like, why would you do that? Why would you only show your kids when you think it's going to get you an advantage for your business? Then you're not featuring your children because it was a happy moment and you thought this was cute and a great opportunity for people to see your child, playing a cool game, and you thought this was just great mom content. No, she's literally using it to try to get more eyeballs on the Netflix show. It's puzzling, and just as a parent, I think not a good choice. And as we heard last summer, there was a lot of rumors that Harry and Meghan were having big fights about whether or not to include the children in likely the Netflix project, but also just in social media in general and just featuring the kids more in various ways. Meghan is open to it and wants to do it, and Harry does not. He doesn't agree with that. And so there were reports that they were having disagreements about this last year. So I'm surprised that this has happened, that Harry has allowed this to happen. But what do you guys think? Do you think he has any sway over this? Do you think this connects back to the divorce rumors? What is happening? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I will be right back with more content for you very, very soon. Thank you for joining me for today's video. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye.